the most profitable niches for 2023. So if you want to get ahead of the game and start creating your niche now for 2023, I've done a bit of research and written them down into what I believe to be the 4 newest up-and-coming niches that have a real demand.
I'm Raymond Taylor, and I'm going to show you how to build a coaching business from scratch.
So the first one is digital nomad coaching. And you might not even know what a digital nomad is, but it's essentially a nomad is someone that doesn't have a home and they just travel the world from country to country. A digital nomad is someone that does that, but with their laptop, and they work online. And this doesn't necessarily mean that they have their own business. You can be a digital nomad coach and do your coaching sessions online. That's what we do here at the Coaching Masters. We help people build freedom-based online coaching businesses. If you're interested in that, click the link below. But it doesn't actually have to be a coaching business. It could be a remote working role. And now, post-pandemic, because everyone's kind of used to working from home now, a lot of offices have closed down and realized that it's actually easier and more efficient to work from home and saves costs on expensive real estate. So there's a lot of people that are looking to get into digital nomad coaching. And the reason why it's coaching is because, yes, there will be an element of consultancy in there, recommending what type of business model would be right for them, what sites to look for remote working jobs. But the biggest thing will be coaching them on their mindset of how they actually allow themselves to take that step in their life. Because let's be honest, 95% of the world wants to be a digital nomad. If you go up to someone in the street and say, hey, would you like to travel the world and get a regular income from it and live wherever you want and live in Bali and live in America the next month and go to Barbados for 2 weeks, and all you got to do is just open your laptop and do your work, around your own schedule and get paid the same, if not more than what you're getting paid at the moment in the office, and with no boss, telling you to come back from work and don't be late from your lunch, or you have to make that up at the end of the day, and scoffing your prawn sandwich from Tesco during your lunch break whilst you're still typing out emails because you've got so much to do. Sorry, I went on a bit of a rant there. You would find that pretty much everyone's going to say, yes, I would prefer to be a digital nomad. Of course, if they've got a family, it makes it more difficult, but just because it's more difficult doesn't mean it's not possible. But here's where you come in as a coach. You empower them, you support them, you hold them accountable, you help them to create a plan, you break down their limiting beliefs of it not being possible. There are people still to this day that think online business is a scam, or you can't possibly make enough money to sustain a lifestyle, or how could you live in Bali? It's just a shack. They think of Bali as just like a beach with some surfboards and a shack, and no Wi-Fi. The world has moved on. And digital nomad and remote working roles are blowing through the roof, but not everybody has the mindset required to take that leap, and someone to support them to do that is going to be a hot niche, and it already is. Breathwork is another hot niche, and that's because it's a new modality that at the moment has actually got almost a bad rep, saying it's like a pseudoscience, saying that it's like make-believe science and there's no real. I've experienced it, it's real, right? I don't have time to go into it. I've got a YouTube video on breathwork. It changed my life. I've had out-of-body experiences. I've floated above my body and looked down. I've had conversations with my dad that's passed away when he was my age, and we were both the same age. We were both like 30 years old, chatting with each other, and absolutely woo-woo, thought I was insane kind of stuff. And all you do is you lie on a table and you breathe in a certain rhythm, but this is not really coaching, this is more practitioner level, but there is coaching involved with breathwork, because usually you would do it as a hybrid. So the coach that I work with, he does an hour coaching with me, and then we open up the thoughts, we open up the brain, we open up those neural pathways, right? Then we drop into the table, which is a table with a bed on it, and we breathe into that and allow the body to then start to open up and explore. And the combination between the mind coaching and the body and the breathing creates an out-of-body experience. It's called conscious connected breathing, and it essentially creates breathing patterns that can take you back to old emotional traumas. There's something called the emotional loop, and when you experience a trauma, you're supposed to experience the trauma, go through a period of grief, accept it, and then let it go to a certain extent. But in Western society, we experience trauma, we block it out, we suppress it, and we hold it in the body. Breathwork is a way of accessing those stored emotional pockets and releasing it. Anyway, this is a topic for another video, but breathwork is another one to get into because it's life-changing, and anything that's life-changing is easy to sell. The other one is content creation, and this one definitely could be coaching. Of course, there is little elements of consultancy here, but it depends how you play it, because yes, you could say, here's how you post content, here's what you write, here's how you use the Instagram algorithm. It's more about, most people know what to do, but they don't do what they know. Like, it's not difficult to use social media, right? Yet they don't really need to be trained on that. And if they were, they'd probably realize they know it anyway. What they need to be coached on is the fear and the doubt and the fear of the haters and what people are going to say about them and the judgment and all of that sort of stuff. And you can be a coach that supports people to be more visible, to share content, to share their story, to get their message out to the world. And it's more of an empowering coaching piece than it is a training consultancy piece, if that makes sense. And there will always be a bit of crossover. And it's okay to have crossover as long as you ask for the client's permission. So if you're coaching on content creation, you could say, what content do you think would be the best to serve your audience this week? I think it would be a piece on how to regulate your emotions. What's coming up for you when you think about posting that content? They start to say, well, I've got a bit of anxiety, a little bit nervous. Okay. Where do you think that anxiety comes from? And they start to say, I don't know. So, and you say, okay, well, I'll give you time to think. Just try and think. Feel into it. Where does that come from? Where was a time where you've experienced that kind of anxiety before? And they might say, well, there was this one time in school. And now this is coaching, okay? This is coaching. But at some point, they might say, I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to post on this week. Just can't think about it. And you could say, do you mind if I give a suggestion? And as long as the client says yes, then you can give them advice. You can give them consultancy, and you can essentially tell them what you think they should do. But what you should never do is tell a client what to do before giving them the opportunity to uncover that for themselves. Because it's way more empowering if they decide and they realize and they choose and they set the goal than it is for you to say, here's what you need to do, here's your list, go off and do it, and ask for their permission. And the last one is manifestation. Now, this is a controversial one because there's a lot of people that will say this is a scam. Essentially, what manifestation is using universal energy to connect with the universe and essentially pray and ask for things to be delivered and see yourself as an abundant creature to have things delivered rather than going out and seeking things. So there's a masculine approach, which is go out and do, take, and have. And when I say masculine, I don't necessarily mean man. There's women that have masculine traits that are more action takers, and I'm very much in my masculine. I'll create a plan, I'll create a strategy, I'll go out and I'll do it. But there are also people on the other end of the spectrum that will step into alignment with what they're doing and wait for it to receive it at the appropriate time by doing certain manifestation techniques. And these could be things like affirmations, it could be things like crystals. And to be honest, I don't know too much about this subject because it's not my chosen niche, but I see it as an up and coming niche. I know various people making a lot of money from it. I know one particular lady that's making 8 figures from it. So that's 10 million a year. And she has very little team members. So she really is just a coach who makes $10 million a year on manifestation. If you do choose that niche, just be aware you're going to get a lot of people that don't understand it. And you're going to have to accept that you're going to get some negative feedback from that, because you're going to get people saying, because essentially what you're doing is you're charging people to basically pray, in a sense, to receive money and things that you want in your life. And there are even money manifestation coaches where you'll pay a money manifestation coach, and sometimes it's a crazy amount of money because they believe that that's part of the process. So here's where we're sort of stepping into like, who are the authentic ones, and is there authentic ones, and does it work, or is it a coincidence, or is there power in it? Is there actual universal power in it which works, or is it just the statement that you're making by making those types of investment and subconsciously seeking that out on a personal level, but it's still manifesting into reality? It's one of those things you can't really explain, but there have been scenarios where people have invested 50 grand into a manifestation coach, and then, you know, next week later they get the job of their dreams, or they meet the partner of their dreams, or there has been many scenarios in which that sort of stuff happens, or money manifestation techniques to build confidence and affirm things to them that sort of start to ingrain into their mind to allow them to feel like they're able to receive money, because maybe there's some blockages that are preventing them from receiving money and receiving things. Doesn't necessarily have to be money, but becoming abundant to receiving anything that the world and the universe has to offer. And if you're into that woo-woo feminine energy side of things, that could be a great niche for you to explore. So there's a couple of unique ones. I hope to see more weird and wacky and wonderful coaches out in the world, and I'll see you in 2023.
I'm Raymond Taylor, and I'm going to show you how to build a coaching business from scratch.